You probably didn't know this, but the country of Austria still has mandatory military service to this day. Apart from the fact that it's an absolutely pointless waste of time and resources, there is a very disturbing and undemocratic background behind this oppressive system. The thing I'm addressing here is the Austrian referendum on conscription. You might be like, oh, but that's the referendum that's democratic, what do you mean? But the only part of the population that is eligible for the conscription are young male citizens. So you got overwhelming majority of the old people voting in favor to keep conscription, though they would not be affected. And then also more than 40% of women voted to keep conscription, though they were never obligated to serve. So you got majority of people who are not affected by the system voting on rights of the minority. I guess you realize that this is not right, and I found very interesting interview on YouTube with random Austrians who are voting on this issue. As you can see, this video shows people walking into the voting room, and then there's this one elderly lady.
I voted to keep this status as it is, although I'm not for it. But it is something where one can still maybe continue thinking and start a process and really go to the bottom of it all.
This is the absolute peak hypocrisy. This is absolutely nothing but reversed. I don't know where she was going with the statement, I voted to keep the status although I'm not for it. Like, what do you mean? This doesn't make any freaking sense. It's just an absolute lame excuse to keep this disgusting system that only exists to provide sadistic superiors with victims to abuse. I can already trace a little bit of misandry in her eyes, you know? Austria is a really sad country. You got the hardworking young people who keep the economy alive, while on the other hand you got the seniors who decide on the rights of those young people. And of course the old people have a major impact on the politics. Just to summarize it a little bit, there is a huge gap between the ages. Okay, now let's move to another respondent, this time a young man with his girlfriend. Now this is actually somebody that could be affected by this system. And here's what he says.
I vote against it because I don't want to go in the army.
Now, I know you might be accusing me of cherry picking, but he's by far not the only one who thinks this way. And even if the vast majority is in favor to keep this system, consent is consent. My body, my choice. Do you understand? Why does this very important and simple rule doesn't apply to this situation when the victims are exclusively men? Why does such a blatant discrimination and violation of body autonomy gets a free pass when the victims are exclusively men? And no, don't you dare to say that men were the ones who came up with this system, blah blah. This system was initially introduced by a female ruler of Austria, of Austro-Hungary, and to this day the defense minister of Austria is a female. And as mentioned in this video, women were allowed to vote on this. However, I do understand that throughout the centuries this was mainly maintained by men, though you cannot deny that women were also involved, especially these days when we got rid of the old habits. I mean, that's a good thing, don't take me wrong. Except for conscription policy. Conscription, known as the Wehrpflicht in Austria, is a very sad, discriminatory leftover from the past. The conservative attitude and lack of innovation in Austrians results in this kind of discrimination being maintained to this day. Anyways, back to the young man.
After this school I want to study, and so I don't want to do anything else, like something I don't want to do.
I think it's absolutely fair to say that, because we're all free human beings, we have the right to choose our destiny. It's like so simple, why do we even need to explain this? This system is undeniably wrong and discriminatory. Why isn't it clear for everybody? Why are there still people who need to argue about this? It's common sense. How are they even people who try to defend and justify this absolutely abhorrent system? Why is this commonly not recognized as a violation of human rights? Like, hello people, wake up! This is insane. This is absolutely insane level of injustice. How do you people even let this happen? I'm begging every single one of you to resist such kind of barbaric, disgusting burden imposed on young people. Of course, do it in a civilized way, but do it. I mean, like, I'm just speechless. This is so wrong. 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 Do you understand? All right, let's just call it a day. I'm done. I'm done with you all. I'm sorry for being a little bit out of hand, but this really gets me emotional. The cruelty and absolute disregard on humanity of this system just really disgusts me.